صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. All praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and His choicest blessings be upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. In our previous discussion, we started the deviation of different sects, how it happened, how different followers of different sects, how different communities, and how different schools of thought were misled by shaitan. And we started with the one of the ancient sects, that is Sophists, and they were among the Greeks. And we discussed about them that their main argument is that there is nothing real in this world. Reality is altogether relative. It's not absolute. So there is nothing absolute in this world. So we can say a kind of skepticism. They develop a kind of skepticism about everything. So their main objective is that once their main objective is to defy each and every tradition. They don't believe in any sort of tradition. Rather, they believe we can say the things are relative. Truth is relative. Then we discuss the rebuttal to this argument. Imam Ibn al-Jawzi rahimahullah has mentioned that Abul Qasim al-Balkhi rahimahullah, he was one of the scholars. He said that a sophist came to debate a scholar. So there was a debate between the sophist and a scholar, a Muslim scholar. And we know that in Islam, we believe that there are certain realities. We cannot deny it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the absolute reality of this universe. And the things that exist, it has a reality. So we cannot deny these things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created each and everything. And then when we believe in the existence of God, existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's not just as a blind following. It's on the basis of concrete evidences. We believe in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we say there is absolute reality, it's not on the basis of our wishful thinking. Rather, there are concrete evidences behind it. However, the sophist, shaitan, made them to think that there is nothing real. So a sophist came to debate with a scholar, and Abul Qasim al-Balkhi rahimahullah narrates this episode. When he came to visit the scholar, the sophist went out to look for his ride and found that it was missing. He rode the animal, he rode his horse or something else to reach the scholar. Once he entered the room of the scholar, so he thought whether he has tied the animal or not. So he came out to see, and what he found, that animal was missing. So he went back inside saying, "My ride was stolen." The scholar, the Muslim scholar, said, "Perhaps you did not come riding." He responded, "Yes, I did. I came here, I know I rode the animal." The scholar said, "Try to think in order to make sure of that." The sophist replied, "I am certain of this. I know I came." And he said, "Try to remember." The sophist, he said, "There is no room for remembering. I have no doubt that I came riding." Then the scholar said, "Then how could you claim that there is no reality to things? And that an awake person and a sleeping person are the same? That's how do they define the things?" So the sophist was speechless. He had no answer and reverted away from his doctrine. Because there are certain fundamental things which you cannot deny. Denial of these fundamental things means that a person is denying the absolute truth. So then there are different schools within the sophists. Imam Abu Muhammad Nawbakhti said, a group of ignorant people claimed that things do not have only a single reality to them. Instead, things have multiple realities according to the people's perspective, people's perception. For example, honey is sweet to most people. Most of the people say that honey is sweet, but bitter to those suffering from disease. There are different kinds of the patients. If they are struck with a specific kind of disease, they cannot feel the sweetness of honey. Rather, they think that the honey, when they taste the honey, it appears to be bitter. But it's not the bitterness. So they say, actually, whether honey is sweet or it is bitter, it depends upon the perception of a person. Similarly, they say this world is ancient and has always existed to those who believe in its antiquity, and accidental to those who believe it is accidental. Because regarding this universe, there are two arguments: whether this existed of its own without any beginning, or this was created. This came into being at a certain point of time. Likewise, colors are bodies, physical creatures to those who believe they are bodies, and qualities only attributes to those who believe they are qualities. So what they maintain is that there is nothing real. Rather, things are being defined by the different perspectives. When a person is, and definition depends upon the perception of a person. Whatever perception you have with you, so likewise you will define the other things. So it means that there is nothing stable, there is nothing absolute. Rather, everything is fragile. Everything is altogether, we can say, unabsolute or temporary. So there is no any reality at all. And as far as this sect is concerned, Imam Ibn Jawzi rahimahullah, he says, our response is what you say true? So we ask them, is what they say that a single event can be interpreted through many ways. Now it depends upon the perception of a person, how he interprets that particular event. And Imam Ibn Jawzi says, rahimahullah, we can ask such a person, is what you say true? Means their argument. They will surely answer, it is true to us, but false to those who disagree with us. So we respond, your claim that your opinion is true is not true in itself. You rebut your argument of your own. And your confession that your opinion is false to your opponents is proof against you. And whoever confirms that his opinion is false to his opponents, then he has saved his opponents the efforts of proving the falsehood of his opinion. When you yourself say simply that your opinion is false according to other people, according to your opponents, so they don't have to prove that you are wrong. You yourself give them the approval that yes, you have the right to defy them, to falsify them. So how come your own opinion is based on the truth? And there is another way to approach these people. That is, do you confirm a reality to that which you observe? If they say no, then they are of the same opinion as that of the first group, that is sophists, the mainstream sophists, who doesn't believe that there is anything real. If they say the reality of what is observed is relative according to the observers, then they have denied it is reality. Their own claim is not based on the reality. So it is all false. Their claim is itself false, and they falsify their own claim. And thus we discuss with them in the same manner that we discuss with the second group. Imam Nawbakhti says, rahimahullah, another group of sophists said, the world is constantly melting and flowing. So it is impossible for a human to contemplate about the same issue twice, because things are constantly changing. It's another one of the sects of the sophists. And the simple response to these people is, then how could you have known this when you deny all that generates knowledge? Perhaps the person to whom we are talking now is not the same person we spoke to earlier. Therefore, when everything is changing, so how can we believe that the person you are talking to is the same one you talked to earlier, you spoke to earlier? Therefore, all these things, Shaitan made them. Actually, the main cause of their deviance is that they relied upon the reason, bluntly and blindly. I always say that reason is very important. And there are many verses in the Quran which encourage us to use our reason, to use our mental capabilities, to use our intellectual faculties. There are many verses. Quran addresses, أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Don't you use your reason? Ya لَآيَاتْ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. There are many signs for the men of reason. أُولُو النُّهَى. Another term is used for the men of intellect. أُولُو النُّهَى. Those who use their reason properly, they make effective use of the reason. But the question is there any guiding value for the reason, or it is absolutely open-ended? It is free to think the way it wishes. No, there are certain, we must know that reason is not absolutely the only source which helps a person to arrive at a specific conclusion, and that conclusion will be absolutely perfect. Reason helps a person a lot, there is no doubt about it. And even in Islam, if a person is not able to exercise his reason, he is not able to use his reason, say a person happened to be insane, or a person is in a state of unconsciousness, the Islamic Sharia doesn't apply to him. The first and foremost criterion, the first and foremost condition rather, for the application of Deen, for the application of Sharia, for the application of Islam, is that a person must be must be having the sound reason. He must possess the sound reason. Then and only then the application of Sharia will be applied upon him. Otherwise, there is no application of Sharia if there is no reason or no capability to use the reason. So, as I said, so there are many verses in the Quran, but the problem with with these people, it's not only with the sophists. Now, the second group we are going to discuss is the atheists, the naturalists. The problem with them is that they think the apex of source of knowledge is reason. Undoubtedly, reason helps us to a larger extent, but there are certain limitations to reason. There are certain flaws and shortcomings with the reason. And there we need to find out another source of knowledge. That's the wahyu. So now we discuss about another sect who were misled by the shaitan. They went to the extent that they denied the existence of God itself. They said the whole universe, it is just the grisly and ghastly dance of the atoms and ions. Blind energy made it possible. Soulless, senseless, reasonless, intellect-less energy made it all possible. So the argument, they have many arguments, and there is we can say, a satiating rebuttal also for this. Now we discuss about another sect, that is atheists. Iblis has deceived many people to believe that there is no God or creator. And that all things came into existence without a maker, without a creator. These people denied Allah's existence because they failed to sense Him with their senses and failed to use their intellect to recognize Him. Could any person with a sound mind doubt the existence of a maker? If a person passes by a piece of land with no buildings, there is no structure built on it, it's just a vacant piece of land. Then after some time he returned to find what he finds. He finds a wall built over there. He would realize that there must have been a builder who built the wall. Simple. Because the wall, the bricks, the sand, the cement, the water would not come of its own spontaneously. And the bricks started just jumping over one another and the wall came into being. Not possible. And this wide expanse of this wide earth, this huge universe, the raised high ceiling, that is the sky in the heavens, and these amazing buildings, and these running laws that imply wisdom, do not they prove the existence of a creator? There's a beautiful Arabic couplet, إِنَّ الْبَعْرَةَ تَدُلُّ عَلَى الْبَعِيرِ وَأَثَرُ الْقَدِمِ يَدُلُّ عَلَى الْقَادِمِ. أثر القدم يدل على القادم وإن البعرة يدل على البعير أليس هذا الكون الأرض والسماوات يدل على الخبير على العليم الخبير, which means that the dropping of a sheep, the dropping of the animal, the excrete of the animal, or the droppings of the sheep, it leads a person to think that sheep exist, the animal exists. When we see the excrete of an animal, so it is enough evidence that animal exists. And when we see the footstep, when we see the impression of a foot, so it is enough evidence for us to believe that foot exists. So how insane, how crazy it is to say that, okay, this dropping exists, but sheep doesn't exist. The cause of this dropping, the animal, the excrete exists, but the animal itself, who was the cause, major cause, the only cause for the existence of this excrete, and he doesn't exist. The impression of the foot exists, but the foot itself, which was the cause of this impression, which was the cause of this footprint, that doesn't exist. This is good in fiction. Footprint without foot, footprint without feet was long back. I came across with a short story. Footprint without feet. It can be a fiction. It can be a utopia. But as long as living in this present practical world is concerned, this argument doesn't hold the water. It doesn't have enough evidence to stand of its own. You see, simply, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, سَنُرِيهِمْ آيَاتِنَا فِي الْآفَاقِ وَفِي أَنفُسِهِمْ حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَهُمْ أَنَّهُ الْحَقِّ. Soon we shall show them the signs, fil afaq, in the horizons, in this universe, وَفِي أَنفُسِهِمْ, in their own selves, until it becomes manifested to them that this is a true message of God, this is a true message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In any single branch of knowledge, there are hundreds of branches of knowledge nowadays. We are living in an age which is commonly known as the age of knowledge. And there's explosion of knowledge, because every now and then different fields are emerging. New fields of knowledge are discovered. And when you focus on any field of knowledge, any discipline of knowledge, and it unmasks amazing realities, we discover enormous baffling things in that particular discipline of knowledge. If we just ostensibly, if we just reflect upon our own creation, Imam Ibn Jawzi says, rahimahullah, if a person ponders on the sharpness of the teeth, simply we have the teeth, and you see how it has been beautifully patterned and designed, and a set of teeth, they are sharpened, they are very sharp. And if you ponder on the sharpness of teeth to enable it to chop the food, the flatness of molars to grind the food, the tongue that rotates what's being chewed, the liver that ripens the food, how nutrition flows to each part of the body as needed, these fingers that have knuckles so they can bend and open to perform work, they never become hollow from work, otherwise they would break. How some fingers are longer than others so that all become the same in length when bent. And how the most hidden of the body is that which holds it together, the soul. Once it goes, the body becomes corrupt. Body becomes motionless. And intellect that leads to welfare community. Whoever ponders on all of these things must surely call, can there be any doubt about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Afillahi shak fatir as-samawati wal ard. Is there any doubt in the creation, in the existence of the creator of this universe? The existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala it is simply as bright as that of the sun. It's only the blind person who can deny the brightness of the sun. He can deny the whiteness of the sun. Why? Because the problem is not with the sun. The problem is with the blind person himself. His tool is blunt. His tool is not able to show him the exact reality. Same thing happens with these atheists who deny the existence of God. And Prophet ﷺ had already predicted that a group will emerge. They will say, okay, if the things are created by the God, then who created the God? Prophet said to us ﷺ, تَفَكَّرُوا فِي آلَاءِ اللَّهِ. You reflect upon the creation of Allah. وَلَا تَفَكَّرُوا فِي ذَاتِ اللَّهِ. But do not reflect upon the essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَمْ تَخْدِرُوا. Because you won't be able to do it. Our programming of mind has been set in such a way that as long as we reflect, contemplate and ponder over the creation, we may have the exact results, the perfect results. However, the moment we try to transcend, the moment we try to cross the limits of reason, the moment we try to cross the domain which is meant for the reason, that is the domain of khalq, the domain of creation, and it tries to just think about the creator, essence of creator, then what will happen? The results will be altogether corrupted, because this is beyond the scope of the human reason to know about the essence and being of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, we know Allah through His ayat, through His signs. The problem with the Western philosophy, one of the main problems with the Western philosophy is that they make assumptions and presumptions. And then on the basis of these assumptions and presumptions, they assume the things, they presume the things, and ultimately they say that there is no God. Say for example, René Descartes, one of the prominent figures, he is also known as the father of modern Western philosophy, René Descartes. He discussed about the God and His attributes. Whether attributes of God are the part of being, part of His essence, or they are apart from His being. Do they have their separate existence, or they are part of His essence? And our mutakallimun, our scholars have also discussed this issue long back, long before René Descartes. That one is mabhathu zat wa mabhathu sifat, ainu zat wa ghayru zat, or the part of the essence, or they are having individual separate existence. So Descartes is discussing about the attributes of God, and he says, and his opinion is that attributes of God are part of His essence. They don't have separate existence. And then he gives an example, assumption. He says the example of God's attributes and essence of God is that of a triangle. We know every triangle comprises of 3 angles. Can we have any triangle without 3 angles? Absolutely not. Because triangle itself, the name itself suggested that it must have 3 angles. When 3 angles are put together, it gives birth to a triangle. So these angles together, 3 angles together make triangle. So essence is defined by these angles. Likewise, the attributes of God are the part of His essence. So without the angles, there can be no triangle. Without the sifat, without the attributes, there can be no essence. And Voltaire, while discussing this issue, he says, according to him, we neither believe in the angles nor in the triangles. Khalas. We neither believe in angles nor in triangles. Then, there is no God. At this theoretical level, at this, what you call, level of assumptions and presumptions, that's how they deal with the concept of existence of God. But the important issue is that we need to see this universe, our own essence, our own existence, and the tremendous amount of knowledge which is involved in the creation of this universe. Descartes, René Descartes. Let me write it down. Descartes. So his famous book is Methods. And he is the man who went against Aristotle's concept of monism. And he gave the concept of duality. That's another separate discussion, inshallah. Some other day we'll discuss it. So they discuss the God and his attributes at the theoretical level. And they make enough use of assumptions and presumptions. Now we will see the Quranic methodology. In order to prove the existence of God, what is the Quranic methodology? Quran simply says, Afillahi shak fatir samawati wal ard. Is there any doubt in the creation of, is there any doubt in Allah? Is there any doubt in the existence of God? Fatir samawati wal ard, the creator of heavens and the earth. As far as the heavens are concerned, only crazy people, only insane people can deny its existence. As far as the present earth is concerned, present human beings are concerned, only crazy people, insane people are those who are suffering through any problem, suffering through a psychological disorder, they can deny. Overwhelming majority of the people of the world, they believe, yes, these things do exist, except a microscopic minority of radical skeptics or sophists, microscopic minority. They are not a lot of people, just a microscopic minority all through the ages. Overwhelming majority of this universe, they believe, yes. And the way this universe now, the recent discoveries about the cosmology, it has unmasked the reality that it cannot be of its own. One simple reference I would like to give of Roger Penrose. Roger Penrose is theoretical physicist. So his field is theoretical physics. And as far as Roger Penrose is concerned, just a short introduction, that Stephen Hawking, who is also another known theoretical physicist, he heard one lecture of Roger Penrose at Cambridge University, and that set the trajectory of Stephen Hawking. And he has authored many books, The Shadows of Mind, and one of his books on theoretical physics is The Road to Reality. The Road to Reality is a book authored by Roger Penrose and purely discussing the theoretical physics. And there's a chapter in the book regarding the origin of universe. And then there's a subtopic discussing about the Big Bang. As we know scientifically, the scientific cause of this universe is a Big Bang. And what is this Big Bang? The Big Bang is simply that this entire mass of this universe, all the matter in different states of the matter. We know matter is of different states, solids, liquids, gases. So all the matter was tightly jam-packed into a gaseous ball. That physicists call as primary nebula. As far as this primary nebula is concerned, that was the basic element. And Big Bang theory, which is now approved regarding the origin of this universe, regarding the creation of this universe. They call evolution of this universe, but we don't say evolution. Because when they say evolution, it means that things happen of its own. So we are not evolutionists, rather we are creationists. But not the Christian creationists, who relied wholly and solely upon the Bible, and there are remarkable mistakes in the Genesis chapter regarding the creation of this universe. Well, just a passing remark, in the Genesis, the age of humanity, since the inception of the first man on the planet, that is Adam, peace be upon him, until Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, there is a genealogy, and then complete genealogy from Isa alayhi salatu was taslim to Ibrahim alayhi salam. Then second part, from Ibrahim alayhi salatu was salam to Adam alayhi salam. So each and every name is mentioned over there, along with the age, how much age a particular person was having. And when we calculate, it is not more than 7,000 years. It's 5,600 some years. Say roughly 6,000 years. So the age of the present humanity it doesn't cross 6,000 years. But now we have the scientifically discovered fossils. And its age has been discovered millions of years before. So how is it possible when the first man was Adam, peace be upon him, how before the Adam could be another man? And that 2 millions of years before Adam, peace be upon him. So there are scientific errors in the Bible, and which has been highlighted by Dr. Maurice Bouquet. Dr. Maurice Bouquet, a French surgeon by profession, but he later on embraced Islam. And he authored a beautiful book. I suggest all of you to go through the book. That's truly the academic work. That is the Bible, the Quran and science. The Bible, the Quran and science. Dr. Maurice Bouquet, known for his scholarship and his meticulous work. And he has highlighted all these problems. So when I say creationists, I don't mean by the creationists including mentioning Christians, the Jews and others who assert the existence of God their own way. Rather, creationists through the Quranic perspective.